We are going to take a look at Chapter 8, which is photosynthesis. And just like Chapter 7, where we started cellular respiration with a brief overview, we're going to do the same thing with Chapter 8. So let's take a look at an overview of photosynthesis. So you've known since you were in elementary school that we call photosynthesis the process where we take the sun's energy and convert it into chemical energy. And organisms carry out photosynthesis, and those organisms that specifically do that are called autotrophs. They automatically make their own food. Heterotrophs are organisms that feed on other organisms. Heterotrophs do not make their own food. So if you think of it as you could plant yourself out in a field someplace, you are a heterotroph and you will not be able to make your own food just because you're planted in the ground like a plant. Autotrophs and heterotrophs use organic molecules produced by photosynthesis, and pigments allow photosynthetic organisms to capture solar energy. Flowering plants are photosynthesizers, and you've known this for a long time. Photosynthesis occurs in the green parts of the plants, particularly the leaves. The leaves contain what's called the mesophyll tissue that specialized purpose is for photosynthesis to occur. Water gets taken up by the roots and taken to the leaves through veins in the leaves. Carbon dioxide enters through these openings in the leaves called the stomata that are surrounded by guard cells. Light energy is absorbed by chlorophyll and other pigments in the thylakoids of the chloroplast. And we'll take a look at what these things look like just to review real quick. So here is a cross-section of a plant, a leaf. Let me change this over so I can get a laser pointer. So we have the cross-section of a leaf, and we have the cuticle, which is this edge right here, that's kind of waterproof. Down here on the bottom, you'll notice the stomata here and here. So there's two guard cells that surround an opening or a stomata, and that's where the carbon dioxide and oxygen leave and enter the plant. This middle section is called the mesophyll. Meso means middle. We have an upper epidermis, which is an outer layer, and a lower epidermis. And here's one of the veins that carries the water into the plant or into the leaf of the plant. And you'll notice all these other cells within the mesophyll. There's a huge vacuole, central vacuole, which you expect to see in a plant cell, and lots of green in here, these little green concentrated areas. Those are the chloroplast that you're seeing there. Let's take a little bit closer look at what's going on with the makeup of the chloroplast itself. So here's a micrograph of a chloroplast where you see a lot of space in here, and that space is called stroma. It has a gel-like, fluid-like substance in it, similar to the cytoplasm or the nucleoplasm or the matrix, if you're talking about the mitochondria. So you notice these dark bands in here. Those are actually stacks called granum. So these are stacks of grana. The stroma is surrounding it. Those grana are made up of a stack of thylakoids. And photosynthesis actually happens in the thylakoid membrane itself. Is where it happens. You notice we have a double layer, an inner and outer layer of this chloroplast as well. So just looking at these two pictures put together, that each one of these little green areas right here is a chloroplast. So you have photosynthesis occurring in the thylakoid membrane of the thylakoid, and it's happening in all these different chloroplasts at the same time. So it's happening at a pretty fast rate in lots of different places. And let's get a little bit more specific about what's going on in photosynthesis. Okay, so in photosynthesis we have carbon dioxide and water, and it uses solar energy to convert to glucose and oxygen, which is really similar to cellular respiration, just a little backward. So glucose and oxygen are the products, and oxygen given off comes from the water. The carbon dioxide is going to gain hydrogen atoms and become what we see right here, which is known as a carbohydrate. Photosynthesis consists of two sets of reactions. The photo refers to light capturing. Synthesis refers to producing a carbohydrate. So they're breaking up your words again into prefixes and suffixes. Photo is light, synthesis is producing. The two sets of reactions are going to be called the light reactions, which are light dependent, and the Calvin cycle reactions, which are considered light independent reactions. If we take a closer look at the chloroplast, solar energy is going to go into the chloroplast along with water and carbon dioxide. You're going to have Calvin cycle reactions in the chloroplast and give off oxygen and give off a carbohydrate in the process. Okay, so while you know that this process is a complicated process because you've gone through cellular respiration, and that was a complicated process, this picture just shows you very simplified what's going on. We are going to get definitely into those different processes with the light dependent and light independent reactions in this chapter. And again, it's repetition. It's something new you haven't covered in a depth that you haven't gone before when it comes to understanding the chemistry behind it. So you need to watch the videos. You need to find any other resources you can find as far as Khan Academy or any other videos that may help you with that. Read your textbook and make sure that you get the information more than one time. Hearing it 2 or 3 times is going to make a big difference. So slow down, take your notes, pause the videos as you go through, and keep up with your homework, which is watching the videos.